Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 4 1580 Signature Edition. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to flip this over. We're going to be using a JIS1 screwdriver. The thing with this is the hinge broke and several of the screw mounts, so it might look different from what you have. Anyways, we're going to be using a JIS1 screwdriver, if I didn't already mention that. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we got 4 back here near the hinges, 3 in the middle, and then 4 more towards the front. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove all those screws. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. I'm not sure if the screws are changed because it broke earlier, but this screw was much shorter than the others. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alright. Oh, I guess these ones are also short. Okay, but these 3 were super long. So yeah, just keep that in mind and make sure to keep track of your screws, okay? Alright. And again, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. Leave a comment, and if this helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps, and again, allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this thing apart completely. The one thing with this one, the keyboard and touchpad or trackpad wasn't working, and because this is like one of those models that can flip over, there's a little sensor in there, and that's what's going on. Alright, so the way I get this out, I get my fingernail in the gap, where's it? The gap right here, okay? And then I pull like that. But this case is kind of all broken, so I don't know if it's going to be this easy for you guys to pop it open. Basically, I get my fingernails in the gap, and I pull up with my fingers and push down with my thumb. Alright, also this case has some cracks in it, so we have to kind of be careful, okay? Just going to work our way around. Alright, there's another crack here, so we got to skip over that and continue going over. I guess we'll go from the back side here now. Okay. And again, you want to be careful with this. Alright, so once you get all the clips out, there you go. It pops open like that. Okay, we'll set that aside. Okay, and first thing we're going to do when working on the computer is we're going to pull the battery out. So I'm just going to grab these wires. Actually, let me zoom in here for you guys. Oops, I probably should have got a thumbnail real quick. Let me zoom out here and get a thumbnail first. Okay, so we're going to center this, and this will be a thumbnail. Okay. Alright, so the battery, we're going to disconnect it. Basically, you just grab the wires kind of as close as you can to this, and you kind of wiggle it as you pull, just like this, and keep wiggling, and there you go, it pops out. You can see they put a little mark here so you know which side faces up. Make sure you don't plug it in upside down with these little wires facing up, okay, or the little pins. Otherwise, you can fry your computer or break the connector. Okay, we don't need to take the battery out or anything, so I'm not going to do that, but there's some screws holding it here. There's 3, I believe. Alright, battery model number right there, L15L3PB0. Okay, you got the keyboard backlight connector. There's no latch, you just have to pull it out, and then the new one you push it back in. But keep in mind, this is a little bit difficult to push back in once you pull it out, so I don't want to mess with that. But they use this hard plastic here to make it more stiff so it's easier to push in. Alright, then they have the keyboard connector, so keyboard backlight, keyboard connector. This one has a little latch, you flip it up and then you can pull this out. You have the touchpad or trackpad cable. You got this small cable going underneath. I'm not sure what that's for. I guess let's pull out the hard drive. We're going to be using the JIS1 screwdriver. I don't know if any screws are missing from here, so if there's extra screws holding this, like here, there might be one screw missing, I don't know. But yeah, if there's an extra screw, make sure to remove that, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and slide the hard drive back just like this. And they actually have an SSD in here. Okay, so there's a fingerprint reader, fingerprint sensor. Okay, I should have figured. I didn't look at the top inside to know there was a fingerprint reader sensor in there. All right, we're gonna push the hard drive or SSD back in. It's a 2.5-inch SATA. If you wanted to replace it, there's 4 screws on the sides holding it into this bracket. So make sure to transfer that metal bracket over. Okay. Then we got the RAM here, so we're gonna take a look. Oh, also there's the BIOS CMOS RTC real-time clock battery underneath here, and it's stuck down with some adhesive. Okay, the RAM is underneath this metal box here, so I just get under there with my fingernails if I can. Okay, if you have a small enough suction cup, you might be able to use that, but this one, as you can see, won't fit, so I need to get under here with my fingernail. Okay, corner edge. Let's see if I can get it out. Geez, this thing is, that box is on there tight. Okay, pop that up, work our way around. Since I can't really get back there, I hold this up and then push down here, and that should, there we go, pop that up, and then wiggle it. Okay, so here's the RAM. You pull these 2 tabs aside. I keep my fingers on top just in case it pops and flies out. So pull these 2 tabs aside. You can see it comes up like that. Then you can pull it out. And here you have, they have a 16 gig PC4 2400T RAM. And then you can see the motherboard or logic board information here. Okay. Motherboard, CPU, and GPU are soldered to the motherboard. So keep that in mind. All right. They aren't removable unless you have some special tools, but anyways, then you got the wireless card here. I'm not going to remove that, but if you want the model number, there you go. I have a lot of videos where I show how to do that. Basically, you pull up on the tails of the antennas to pop them out. 1 screw, then it pops up like the RAM. You can pull that out. Okay, you got this connector here that connects to the USB board with the SD card slot, the headphone jack. And I believe that's the 1 key recovery button, this one. There's a little 1 key recovery button in here on the side. So if you want to get to the BIOS and things like that, you can actually use a pin through the side of the case. Let me actually show you here. So they have this little, focus on it, please. I want it focused, come on. There you go. So you see that little arrow? There's a hole there. So you push that with a pin, or I use a folded out paper clip, that works. And yeah, all right, let's get this metal cover box back on. Line everything up, push it down. Okay, make sure everything looks good. Okay. Oh, I think we missed one of the clips back there. Make sure all the little clips go in. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right. Then you got the little cable here for the fan. Okay. And the fan has some screws here and here. I don't know if there's any other hidden ones. You got the LCD LVDS cable here. You want to be very careful if you mess with this. First thing you want to do, disconnect the battery. Then open up the screen and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds. Otherwise, you risk damaging your computer, okay? The backlight for the screen, this cable can fry, the screen can fry, so you want to be very careful. Make sure that you disconnect the battery here. Open up the laptop, press and hold the power button at least 15 seconds, all right? You got the DC jack connector underneath the battery one here, runs along here. You do have to flip the hinge out of the way, open it up to fix it. This one, as you can see, it's glued in place because all the screw mounts below broke, so it's actually being held in now with this JB Weld epoxy. Okay, also this piece broke off and you can see it's also held with JB Weld. Okay, anyways, we got that done. We're gonna, let me actually open up the laptop and then do the battery drain real quick. You want to be careful because the hinges are weak. Let me zoom in here, because now we don't have the other screws. So I'm going to help hold the hinge here and here, and we're going to flip this open. I do have to use like something to help hold this down. Okay, and then after you got it open, we're going to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so we'll hold that button in. I'm going to use a little pin because it's kind of far in there. Okay, so Give it a few more seconds. Okay, so we got that. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna check and disconnect. So I'm pushing the hinges down here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and disconnect this cable. So this is the LCD LVDS connector, but it also goes to the I forgot, I think it's called the Hall effect sensor or something. Whatever, it helps detect, like, there's magnets in here. So when you open and close, it will know whether the screen is folded backwards or open or whatever. And that's very important because that helps it know whether it's in tablet mode or laptop mode. Anyways, to remove this connector, let me zoom in here. They have this pull tab that you can kind of grab and pull, but I always have a hard time pulling it up this way. So what I do is I get my fingernail under the edge and then I help pop it up just like that. Okay, and there you go. So this is the connector, and it just plugs in just by pushing it down into place. So we're just gonna get this and push it back down. Okay. When their computer was having the issue with the keyboard and trackpad not working, it turned out somehow this connector was part of the issue. But let me also show you the other part. So we're gonna take the screen out now. So let's zoom out. And what we're gonna do, I'm not actually gonna take out the screen completely, but if you plan to take out the screen or work on the screen, first disconnect the battery, and then you could either just, you don't need to disconnect it from this side because we're gonna disconnect it from that. But to make sure the hinges are extra sturdy, we're gonna put the bottom cover back on. In this case, I'm gonna plug the battery back in because I don't plan to disconnect the screen. I'm just gonna show you guys inside what it looks like. Okay, and I don't want to have to take it apart and put it back again since I'm already pretty much done with getting it fixed. So once we got that, let's go ahead and put these screws back on. All right. Oops, I dropped that screw. If you're gonna do this like quick, or I mean, if you're repairing your screen and you want to have the battery disconnected and reconnect it, you technically only need to put back these two corner screws temporarily to help hold it stronger. But you do need the bottom cover on to help with that. All right. Again, if you don't, there's a very good chance these screw hinge mounts are going to break, and then you're going to have some issues there. Okay. Anyways, let's get all these screws back in. Again, hopefully this video helps you guys out. If it does, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to repair their devices as well. Again, also leave a comment because that helps YouTube know that these videos are helping people, and or not really that it's helping people, but that they're engaging with the content and are watching. Yeah, and if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Again, every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. All right, so let's go ahead and get the rest of these screws in, and then I'm going to show you how to remove the screen. Okay. You do need like a really thin pry tool to do this, otherwise it's going to be very difficult to get the little plastic covers off, but you'll see in a bit what I mean. Okay, all right, get all of these back in. Okay, and the last one. All right, next thing we're going to do, just to make it a little bit easier, we're going to flip the screen all the way backwards. Okay, so just like this, open it all the way up. All right, then we're going to have to get these 3 plastic pieces out. So it helps to use like a needle or a tiny flathead screwdriver. Let me actually zoom in here so you can see better. Okay, we're going to get this one piece out first. So just get on the side here and just push the rubber piece out of the way. Okay, these are just cosmetic, so you don't technically need to worry about those rubber pieces. If you lose them or something, don't really worry about it, but there we go. All right, push that one out as well. Okay, then we have some more JIS1 screws. We're going to remove those. Okay, there's one on each side, obviously, and one over here. Okay. Okay, once you do that, if you're able to, you can actually get under this gap here, okay, and you can use that to kind of pop this cover off, but I'm telling you, it's very difficult. So you can see it's very hard to do that. So what I do is I use this very thin pry tool, and I get in there, and then I can pop it out just like this. Okay, so just like that, pop it out. There we go. And then we can take this out. It does have to swing this way because on this side it has these little feet that hold it in place. Okay, on this one I think those actually broke, but here you can see, same thing. Pop that out. Okay, and then once you get that out, it comes up just like that. Okay, and then same thing with the center one. The center one, this big bar here, we're gonna basically get in there and pop that out as well. Okay, so just get in there and you kind of just wiggle it and pop it a little bit. All right, and depending on what tool, this tool is very flexible, so it's not gonna like break. So you want to be careful. If you're using something that's not very flexible, you can end up snapping it, and that can be dangerous because then you'll have metal pieces flying around. So be very careful. Make sure you get a good tool to do this. This thing is actually designed for a pharmacy thing, but I use it for that. Anyways, let's zoom out. Okay, oops, that would have been fine. Okay, so we got that. Now we can lift this up and you can see it comes out. So same idea, this one has the little feet there that hold it in place. I know it's not focusing right, but there we go. We'll set that aside. There's 2 more screws under here that we do need to remove, so let's go ahead and remove those. There we go. All right, then we're gonna remove the screen. The way you remove the screen, you slide it down like this. It might help to push with your thumbs here and then pull like this, okay? And you can actually see it's no longer aligned with the screws, so that's how you know you're doing it right. So you pull it down, and then you can get in the little gap that forms up here to help lift the screen up. If it doesn't lift up, you can use that gap to help pull it down even further, okay? And then once you pull it down far enough, it's still kind of stuck, come on. Once you pull it down far enough, there we go, then we can go ahead and separate the screen from this piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. I don't know how I'll really show this, but okay, like this. So we'll flip this up. Okay, so here you can see you want to be very careful because there are the wireless antennas and also the digitizer and LCD screen connections here. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it like this, and you can see this is for the screen. I don't actually know the screen model number, they covered this, but you'd have to look for this Flex 4 whatever model. Come on, focus, there we go. Okay, let me actually zoom out. Okay, so you have the 2 wireless antennas up here. Obviously you have the webcam and stuff here. This cable goes here. So actually the LCD LVDS connector connects to the camera and everything. Alright, I just wanted to show you quickly what that looks like. Then we're going to go over here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show this. I got to move this over. I'm going to end up damaging everything, but okay. So here you have the LCD LVDS connector. This is like all the other screens. You peel that adhesive up and then you can pull it down, usually by the wings. I use my fingernails and just pull the connector down. You got the digitizer touchscreen connectors, these 2 down here. And then you got this that connects it to the cable. So this connects to the touchscreen digitizer, the glass on the front. And then this board is the touchscreen digitizer controller. And then this piece connects it to the LCD LVDS cable. Then you have this little board here. This one has a cable. You can also pull it out. I'm not going to mess with it, but this is the Hall effect sensor or whatever it's called that detects when the screen is opened or closed. So if for some reason your keyboard and trackpad aren't working and the touch screen works, it's either this board, this connection, or the connection to the motherboard. In this case, when I opened it, this little board was like flying all around. It wasn't secured down. I used some double stick adhesive. You basically have to slide it in underneath because on both sides of it, there are like little things that stick out. So you have to kind of like wedge it underneath at an angle. All right. And then you can plug this cable in, or in this case, I left the cable plugged in when I slid it in. And then I plugged that. It still wasn't working. And then I disconnected the LCD LVDS cable from the other side underneath the cover that I showed you earlier. Again, if you do that, make sure the battery is disconnected and that you press and hold the power button to drain any residual power before doing that. All right, anyways, we got all of that, so we're gonna close this back up. I'm gonna let this fall down, and then I'm gonna grab all of it at once so I can flip it over. Okay, and then to put this back, basically same thing, same idea. So you have the screen like this. Oh, and one other thing, after you change all those connections, it won't work right away. You're gonna have to restart the computer one time. Don't do shut down and power on. You need to actually physically click the restart. So I'll show you what I mean in a bit. But basically, to get the screen back, you slide it back down, make sure the side edges went back into place, and then you can go ahead and slide it back up. Okay, there you go. Then we just get these screws back in, and then we just got to put this thing back together. So let's get these screws in, and then get the little clips back in, and I'll show you what I mean by you have to restart the computer. Okay, so we got those two screws. Again, this piece goes in at an angle and then it swings down. So go at an angle like this, okay, and then slowly drop it and click it down into place. Okay, if these clips are broken, it's gonna end up falling out, so yeah, make sure, hopefully you didn't break those clips. All right, then this one, same idea, at an angle like this, and then click it down, get the screw back in, okay, and get the rubber piece back in. If you want, you can add some double stick adhesive to make sure these hold well, because usually the adhesive, after you open and close it, it kind of loses grip. But you can check, see if it falls out, and it looks good. All right, we're gonna put this at an angle. Same thing, it should click, but that clip is kind of broken. So don't worry too much because the screw will hold it in place, okay? And then we just get the rubber piece and put that back in. Okay, there we go. Then we're gonna open this back up. All right, and let's go ahead and power it on. Again, if you did take it apart and disconnect the battery, of course you have to open it back up and reconnect the battery. We're gonna power this up. You can see it's turning on. All right, so if your keyboard and trackpad weren't working, so this trick will only work if your keyboard and trackpad are dead because it thinks it's in tablet mode. Okay, so right now you can see I actually have the mouse, it works fine, but before it wasn't working at all. So what you have to do after you finish with those, checking all those connections, we'll flip this or swipe up, and then we'll push the power button here, and then make sure you do restart, not shut down, restart. All right, restart anyways, and there we go, we'll let it restart. But again, if after doing all of that, even after restarting it doesn't work, then you're very likely going to have to either change that little Hall effect sensor or the cable that connects everything. It could be that cable is damaged. So other than that, I'm not too sure what else would be the cause. Maybe the magnet somewhere in here fell off or something. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. Oh, also, if that sensor is broken or not working right, if you rotate your laptop, it won't detect to flip the screen. So that's another way you can tell if it's that chip or the cable or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this spike.